Wicked is finally here at the box office, and it is doing big numbers. But it's not the only blockbuster that theaters need to turn their spreadsheets from red to black. For AMC, Regal, and more, they're going to need Moana to also roar at the box office. But can two blockbusters truly carry the day? And will Sonic 3 and Mufasa come to audiences with sway? We'll find out, and we're bringing you our projections for holiday movies in 2024. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the place that makes you say, we want more entertainment news that isn't biased, crazy, loony, and all of that other stuff that comes from the downtrodden doomies of the woke movement. Today, we are talking about the movies that will move audiences in 2024. Helping theaters survive? Well, can they do it in time? Will Moana be able to work in simpatico with Wicked? Do you know? Well, we have a feeling that we do, and we're going to share it. Folks, click the like button. We'll get the panel, and we're bringing them in right now. All right, folks, we've got another good one, and we don't want you to go anywhere because it's the battle of the blockbusters. What's coming up that will save the theaters this time? Well, here's what we've got. Moana 2, first up. Here's what we've got for long-range projections. On the 5-day now, coming out of Box Office Pro, they are now predicting that Moana 2 will earn a hefty $120 to $150 million 5-day opening. The 3-day less, but I have to say that if Moana 2 can get up to 150, that would be great for it. The trick here is going to be, can Moana 2 hold on in the second weekend? Disney is doing some very strange things with Moana 2. And that is they're holding the embargo, the review embargo, until just before the movie opens, literally hours. They're also holding the soundtrack. Both of those do not bode well, but if Moana 2 can do 150, maybe it'll be one of those movies where people just don't care whether it stands up to the original or not. They'll just like it no matter. And of course, we have not seen it yet, so we don't have a review. But here's what it says. It says it's hard to say to what extent Moana 2's episodic origins can be seen in the final product. But even if the film should lack a strong, cohesive central plotline, it should have no problem out-earning its predecessor, which dominated Thanksgiving weekend only to the tune of $56.6 million over the 3-day and $82 million over the 5-day. Now, folks, I want to remind you, since Moana came out, which I believe was 2016, since the original Moana came out, movie ticket prices have exploded. So that doesn't necessarily mean that Moana 2 is going to perform tremendously well in terms of audience numbers, but it will outperform the original, at least based on inflation. Do we expect to see another Inside Out 2 kind of huge success? Not sure. And that's largely also because Wicked is now aiming for a $100 million debut. And I think that the reason that Wicked may outperform the $85 million that it was originally projected to, and I think we've got it pegged here at about 90, but it may exceed that because Gladiator 2 looks to underperform. And what do we know when one film underperforms? The competition it goes up against usually is the beneficiary of that underperformance. Well, so as men...
I don't know about that.
All right.
With those two movies.
Tell me, let me toss this to you, Lou. My thesis on that is that some men may say to their wives, I hear Gladiator's not that great, so I'll go see Wicked with you if you want me to.
That's what I was going to suggest. And that means that 4 people go instead of 3.
Right.
So it doesn't literally translate, as opposed to all the guys got together and went to see Gladiator, and mom agreed to come along for the ride and to drive him home.
Right. But the thing is, so if Wicked does well in the first weekend, then it may have momentum. And then we have to find out what happens Wicked versus Moana. So let me get the ladies' perspective on this. Erica, Michelle, when it comes down to Moana versus Wicked, and I know it's not exactly the same demographic, but it's also not distinctly different. Like, we can't parse that out tremendously well because moms want to take daughters to go see both of these. Which one do you think has the upper hand?
That's tough. I think it depends. I think it depends on, like, what is the word of mouth from Wicked. And what I've seen from women thus far, it's pretty decent. But if Moana has good word of mouth, I feel that's going to be hard to beat just because kids movies, there's just not that many that come out each year. And being around the Thanksgiving, I'd say a lot of families will take their kids. So if they're both even, I lean a little towards Moana just because it has a wider audience range, I believe.
Boys will go see Moana. Boys
Yeah.
might not go see Wicked.
Yeah, like a
because
mother
of The
will
Rock.
take her son to see Moana. She's probably not taking him to see Wicked. So
That's a
I
good
give
point.
I give it the lean to Moana.
That's a really good point. That's why Dwayne Johnson can have such a huge contract, such a big deal with Disney, is because Maui is what the boys want to go see. That makes a lot of sense. Erica, are we right on that one? Do you think?
Yeah, I was going back and forth in my head and I kept going back to the same thing. Moana is just hitting a larger audience with little kids, the family unit, where Wicked may lean in more towards, like girls' night,
Yes.
girls' night out.
There is no character for boys in Wicked, none whatsoever.
No.
I saw the Broadway show twice. I love it. It's a fantastic musical, but there's nothing for young men in that.
What you're talking about, the handsome young scarecrow played by the gay guy from Bridgerton? That's not appealing to young boys.
Yeah, the guy who's involved in a love triangle with two women that they're trying to somehow turn into it being gay. Yes, that guy.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's interesting because the theaters are really dependent this holiday season on a few family blockbusters, and so they need Moana and Wicked to both perform exceedingly well. Let's walk through some of this real quick. So, out of Movie Insider, these are the movies coming out in December, and we're practically at the end of November, so we know Wicked and Moana. That's the two we've got. But in December, here's what's coming up. We're going to skip all the ones that are just streaming. So we're looking for the ones that say theater as we go down through here. So we go all the way down to December 6th. And this is why the theaters are so dependent on the blockbusters. First up, we've got Y2K. And I think that has Zendaya in it. Maybe not. No, it's Zegler. Oh, no, it's Zegler.
Oh, no.
Well.
And Alicia Silverstone. Those two major blockbuster proven quantities.
Are you saying they're clueless? Lou?
I'm saying anybody who thinks they're going to make a movie opener is bats.
Suit me up, Uncle Alfred.
I'm going to make more money off of Y2K, I would say, than whoever's making this one, and I'm not sure who's behind it. We've also got Getaway, and that'll do nothing because it doesn't even have a poster on here. So continue scrolling, folks. Here's what we've got in December. Streaming, and we're now to The Lord of the Rings. Jonas, any idea on December 13th how this one's going to play?
The Lord of the Rings? I have no idea. I'm
Terribly.
on
Wait a minute. Marvin has an answer, Jonas. Marvin appears to know more about this.
There's no way Tolkien fans are not going to go see this. It's animated, first of all. It completely changes the story of a classic character of the lore.
It's anime, right?
I don't know if it's anime style, but
it is anime style. It is.
I mean, it's just basically they just inserted another girl boss that was never a Tolkien character into Tolkien's world.
I'm gonna push back on you on that one a little bit. I get it that they're changing the lore, but I don't think anyone expects an anime to be completely faithful to the lore unless it's an anime and it's based on an anime.
It's competing with Kraven the Hunter.
Well, it's gonna beat Kraven the Hunter. Don't worry about that.
Well,
nobody's seeing that movie.
Wait, they're talking about this guy playing Kraven as the next James Bond.
Oh, look at that.
Well, people will check him out when he's James Bond. Then they're not checking out Kraven the Hunter.
All right, so we're still scrolling, and we've got all the way. Okay, so basically, we have Wicked and Moana, and then if you want to put much on Y2K, have fun with that. We go all the way until Christmas week, and it's Mufasa versus Sonic directly head to head. And this is why I've said that the studios have made a horrible, let me put an accent on it, horrible decision in doing this, because you have an entire month of nothing.
Yeah.
And it's going to either Moana and Wicked have to carry all of December, all the way until we split the demographic, Mufasa versus Sonic 3, Right now, I would give the edge to Sonic 3, but I bet studios are not real happy that we're going to be, facing these two off instead of having Sonic come out 2 weeks before or Mufasa come out 2 weeks before.
Sonic was the one that deserved the Christmas release because the Sonic movies have been huge successes. Nobody wants this Mufasa movie. It is going to be an epic upending of Disney on that weekend. They were fools for not moving Mufasa's release date.
And so all of this is to say, really and truly, folks, when we're looking at Wicked and Moana right now, you might say, oh, well, I hope one underperforms. I hope one fails. And I'm looking at it and saying, listen, this is sink or swim for a lot of theaters. They need both of them to perform very, very well. They need both of them simultaneous to carry the entire month of December until we get to the end. And Mufasa and Sonic, although they're coming out in time for Christmas, the majority of their box office run will occur in 2025.
Yep.
They are largely going to be January movies. And so theaters are going to be looking for a chance to get in the black out of the red. And or do it, not sure.
There is that window of change in the payback. Every time we talk about movie returns, everybody says about 50-50. It's not 50-50 between the theaters and the studios. It is much favored to the studios in the first couple of weeks. And then as they go onwards, the shift happens and the theaters start making a bigger piece of the pie. It may eventuate out to 50-50 if the movie lasts that long. But if it doesn't, the theaters are still screwed because they're investing in the longevity of these things. And whether it's because they don't deserve it, or whether it's because the audience finds out about it late, or whether it's simply because after a couple of weeks and the big season being over, there isn't much competition to draw people away from them, it isn't the way it works. It just isn't. So the theaters have to hope that those two movies not only do well, but that they hold enough to put 2 or 3 or 4 of their screens out of their 12 to them for that entire period to get them out of the studio's time and into the theater's time.
All right, we're going to put everybody to the test now. I'm going to go around the horn. I'm going to have each one of you say just one word. Which one do you think is going to make more? Moana or Wicked? Just say the name of the movie. Erica, which one?
Moana.
Michelle?
Moana.
Jonas?
Profit or revenue?
Oh, darn it. That's a great question.
That's what I was going to ask. But anyway.
No, revenue. We'll talk profit in just a second.
I think Moana.
Marvin?
Moana.
Ghost?
Moana, either profit or revenue.
Okay. Well, that's it. Okay, so Jonas was talking about profit. I don't know the budget for Wicked, but I bet Moana is somewhere in the vicinity of 175 to 200. But it might be weird because it was made as a TV show and then retrofitted to be a movie.
That's the thing. It was made, everybody but The Rock is a bargain.
Yeah. That's
according to Google, Wicked's budget was $145 million.
Was that for both films or just for the one film?
I think that's just for the one. I would assume it's just for the one. No, part 2 has $165 million budget. So they spent a little bit more.
Wicked, the first one might make a bigger profit then. Could.
Especially if it doesn't do well, it'll have less follow-on audience for the second one.
Moana 2's reported budget is $150 million. So they cost roughly around the same to make.
I thought Wicked was going to be more expensive than that. Okay.
I did too.
All right. Well, we shall see, folks, but theaters are hoping all of them win, and they're hoping that moviegoers this holiday season will have wind at their backs. Not that kind of wind, though. Not that kind of wind at their backs. I was
going to say, are they changing the flavors of the popcorn? But,
I already beat you to it, Lou. Ha ha.
Oh, I saw those Australian guys reviewing Fantasy Springs and they said it was all wonderful except this roast beef flavored popcorn, which was the worst thing they'd ever eaten in their lives.
It is such fun getting to spend time together, folks, but we have come to the end of yet another video. Well, that makes the mainstream scratch their heads, pull their hair out, and wonder, how is it we continue to do what we do? But you know what we do this for? It's for you. To keep bringing all the knowledge of entertainment, explaining what's going on in Hollyweird each and every day. And you can help us continue on that way by clicking the like button, share, subscribe, click it, stick it to those algorithms. It's the notification bell. Share this out on your favorite social media platforms, and we would love to have you drop a comment right on down below. Share your thoughts because, well, your thoughts truly do matter, and we mean it. As we get ready to say goodbye, we end with the common refrain. Folks, wherever you are and whatever you're doing, keep learning, keep growing, and keep having fun.